Hi, I'm Tarisha Turok and we're on Deeply in Love Again webinar. And I'm so happy to see you here, and I just wanted to say hi to you before we go to the slides. And today you will learn the mistake that couples make, and also more importantly what to do instead, so you can really create that love and intimacy that you always wanted in your relationship. And I spent a lot of effort, put a lot of effort into this workshop, so I know it can really change your life. So please, pay attention, take notes, and I know that the information can really change your relationship. And yeah, again, I'm so happy to see you here. And now we'll go to the slides. Okay, now to the slides. And so if you just joined us, I'm Tarisha Turok, a relationship expert and an author of Deeply in Love Again. And welcome to the online workshop, Deeply in Love Again. Avoid 3 common mistakes couples in long-term relationship make that keep them feeling disconnected, unloved, and frustrated with their partner. And so today you will learn the 3 common mistakes couples make, and more importantly, how to avoid them. And I'll share with you the antidote to these mistakes, the 3 keys to enjoy delicious, intimate connection. And this is why you're here, right? And I really appreciate you for investing your time today and deciding to take your relationship to a new level. Because you are one of the few people who decided to prioritize and nurture their relationship. So yay to you. And I know there are distractions all around us, but this online workshop can really change your life. And I don't want you to miss a single crucial step, so please make a commitment to stay focused. And you will learn more if you commit to listening and close out of Facebook, stop checking your email, and turn off your cell phone. Only if you give me your complete attention, you'll be able to fully understand all the keys and then successfully implement and change your relationship, which is so important. So please commit to listening. And I know that being in a long-term relationship, you might be feeling frustrated, unsupported, or disconnected. Or you might feel like your to-do list has taken over and you are just merely functioning together rather than enjoying each other's company. You may be tired of constant arguments, and you might even wonder, how did I get here and what the hell am I doing in this relationship? And as a man, you might think that you can never make her happy, which makes you feel defeated. And as a woman, you might struggle with the lack of emotional connection and support. Does any of this sound familiar? Can you relate? And there's a chat box on the right or maybe at the bottom of your screen. So please, post your answers there. I'm the only one who is reading them, so yeah, feel free. And you can ask your questions there as well. And if I don't get to the questions here, I can always email you and answer your questions. Okay, so maybe your relationship is okay, but you sense that there is more. And you don't want to settle for less and have an okay relationship. You want to experience this deep, heart-to-heart connection with your partner. Does this sound like you? So by the end of this workshop, you will learn the 3 essential keys to enjoy more affection, better sex life, and understand your partner better, and know how to communicate to bring more love into your relationship. Does this sound exciting? And I really love sharing these keys, and I know how they can dramatically change your life. Okay, and I'm gonna bribe you to stay till the end because I know this information is so valuable. So for those of you who stay till the end, you'll get a chance to win a relationship assessment session, and it's usually priced at $297. I'll be giving away 5 of these very valuable sessions, and this session will really help you to understand what's going on in your relationship so you know what areas to focus on to enjoy more love and affection. And you'll have an action steps that you need to take. And I really appreciate you investing your precious time, and it really brings me so much joy when couples start looking at each other with this lovely wink in their eyes. Okay, so now let's dream a bit so you know what's at stake here and why you should put energy into changing your relationship. I know that motivation and inspiration are very important in taking action steps to change your relationship for the better. So let's dream a bit. And you might want to close your eyes if that helps you, just keep them open. So right now, just imagine how your life will change once you have all the support and affection that you want. How would that be for you? When you have all the amazing sex that you want, how would your life be different? What would you do differently? And just imagine coming home to a loving partner and he or she hugs you, looks at you with adoration, without any demands or complaints, but is right there for you, listening to you and wanting to know how your day been, like really being interested in you. What will this do for you? What will open up for you? What will become possible for you? And maybe what will this do to your children if you have them? How do you think it's going to affect their life? So yeah, please type your answers in the question box. I'd love to hear from you. And do you know that 50% of all marriages end in divorce? And from 50% who stay married, only half of them say they're happy. Just think about it. Only 25% of couples are happily married. And so today I will share with you the 3 keys that will help you to be in the 25% of the happy couples. And another interesting statistic is that 60% of second marriages end in divorce. So even though a lot of us think from time to time, if I get a more loving or sexy or understanding or whatever partner, I'd be so much happier. In fact, it really works. And what's even more interesting that the third time marriages have a higher divorce rate, somewhere around 73%. So we don't seem to be better off when we change our partners. And my intention for this talk is to inspire you to take action and create a magical, loving relationship for yourself. And I'll be sharing some of the stories of my clients so you can see what's possible and know that you're not alone in your relationship challenges. And that's the biggest thing I see in couples. We feel like only we have relationship challenges, no one else does. And I want you to leave feeling empowered that yes, you have the power to get that spark back. Start to feel loved and understood in your relationship and finally enjoy the love you always desired. And also I want to give you some tips that you can implement right away and see the changes in your relationship. So this workshop is all about practical knowledge and then the implementing those skills in your relationship. So today you'll learn why it is so difficult sometimes to communicate to your partner and feel understood. And then you'll learn the number one mistake that couples in a committed relationship make that keep them feeling disconnected and frustrated with their partner. You'll also learn right and wrong communication methods. And one huge pointer that will increase intimacy and understanding in your relationship. You'll learn the B word that could be killing your relationship and how to remedy this immediately. And lastly, the secret yet powerful habit that all happy couples practice. And so I'll share as much as I can in the limited time we have together, and I promise to show you how I can get more by the end of this talk, okay? So if you feel like, you don't want to wait any longer to enjoy affection and happiness, I'll let you know what you need to do by the end of this talk. And since we're going to be spending some time together, is it okay if I share with you just a tiny bit about me? So you know why you should listen to me, and I'll try to fit it in 30 seconds, okay? Okay, thank you. So I come from Russia, and I've been in New Zealand for more than 20 years now. I went to the university here, and I hope you find my accent sexy and, more importantly, understandable. And I started my professional life as a chartered accountant, surprise, right? And at one point, I made a big leap of faith and decided to become a relationship coach because that felt more meaningful, more fulfilling for me. And I traveled around the world to countries like Greece, United States, India, and Mexico, and I participated in a lot of online courses to really learn what makes relationships work. And I studied with Tony Robbins, John Gottman, Dr. Helen Pula, Dr. Sue Johnson, Havel Hendricks, and many others. I just love learning about relationships. And in my practice, I use emotionally focused therapy, which has amazing success rate compared to other therapies. And I'm also trained in Hakomi psychotherapy. It's a body and mindfulness-based approach. And I use Gottman therapy to clearly map out what's really going on with the couple so I can design the best plan for that particular couple, because every couple is unique. And I also add tantric arts to help couples enjoy a more fulfilling sex life if that's what they're looking for. And I find this is a very important mixture to change the way couples relate to each other and bring more joy, more love, more intimacy into their relationship. And I really love seeing my clients starting to shine and enjoy the relationship they just never thought was possible for them. And some of my clients were thinking of walking out of their relationship, and after working with me, they have this exceptional levels of love and joy, and this really melts my heart. I must say, I have very fulfilling work. It's so meaningful and transformational, and I just love it. So this is just one of our success stories from my clients to inspire you so you know what's possible. And this client says that my relationship with my husband was almost destroyed. And with Tarisha's help, I understand my husband so much better, and I'm so much more connected to myself. And the intimacy between us now is so much deeper. And I wonder what it would mean to you to understand your partner and enjoy this deep, intimate connection. How would your life be different? And it really touches me to receive this. Are you ready to experience the same transformation? And I know it is possible. So are you ready to jump on board with me? And I found while coaching my private practice that most of the time we assume that we should know how to have love in the relationships. And when we experience difficulties, we feel ashamed and lost. And I wonder if you felt this way. Please, continue typing your answers and your questions in the chat box there. And this is one of the biggest mistakes couples make, thinking that they should know how to make relationships work. Or that if things are difficult, it means that they are not meant to be together. And worst of all, judging themselves for not being able to make it work. And some couples even think that if they go to therapy, it means they have failed. It means things are really bad and they most probably will break up. That's just so not true. Because I know happy couples made it their habit to learn how to make relationships work. They get support, and they're always curious how to be a better partner. And the fact is that we were never taught how to relate to each other in a harmonious way. And most of us, I don't know about you, but that's what I see in my clients and in my own family, that most of us didn't have good role models who knew how to create love and harmony in the family. Most of the time, the driving desire of our parents, and especially our grandparents, to have a relationship, it wasn't to experience this deep, intimate love. It was more for safety, financial security, and raising children. And that was the era of relationships. You get married, you have kids, and you stay together your whole life because that's what you do, right? So relationships as a vehicle for safety and raising kids are dying, and we can see it all over the place. And we're at the forefront of the new kind of relationships based on love, passion, and fulfillment. And we're stepping into the era of deep, intimate relating. And so now it's not given that you will stay with your partner your whole life. Because the truth is, we can survive on our own, right? We can take care of ourselves. And so now we need to nurture our connection and relate to one another in a new way to keep the love flowing. And I see many relationships break nowadays, and I believe it's because we don't want to compromise. We don't want to settle for less, and we want love and fulfillment. And we know it's possible, we sense it's possible, so we keep on looking. But the problem is we don't know how to sustain that level of love, because we're still in the paradigm of relationships, and we still behave as if relationships are a stable thing, and like we don't need to do anything to keep love and passion alive. Like if we meet the right person, then somehow it should work out. And I wonder if you thought this way. It just should somehow magically work out. It should be easy. And I know it can be really overwhelming to try and figure out how to create this new kind of deep, intimate relating on your own. And maybe right now you're at the stage where you feel hopeless that you could ever make it work for you, if the love you desire is possible. And I wonder how you relate to this. And then you might be listening to me and thinking that everything's okay. But if there's no deep, intimate connection, it's so easy to lose your relationship. Because the longer you feel disconnected, the more you will drift apart until eventually it will be really hard to revive your love. And so many people tell me as well, we're okay, things are going well in our relationship. And yet, there's another level of relationships. Not just functioning and being okay, but having this profound, meaningful connection and blissful intimacy, this really joyful love affair. And if you are having problems in your relationship, to save it from falling apart or living a dissatisfied life, you have only two choices. And choice one is to learn what makes relationships work and practice a new way of being and communicating with your partner. Or the next choice is hope that your partner will change and finally give you the love you desire. And of course, I recommend learning how to relate to your partner in a way that promotes love and understanding, and practice it. And this is the most powerful way to get the love you desire and be fulfilled and happy, because it gives you the power to create the relationship you desire rather than waiting for the love to happen in your life. And it's so wonderful if you and your partner are here today, because if both of you change the way you relate to each other, your relationship will be transformed. And also, if you are here without your partner, you still can change your relationship single-handedly. And I've worked with, women and men, and it's just amazing what one person can do to the whole relationship, because a relationship is a system. And if one variable changes, then the whole relationship, the whole system changes. Yes, and there's another way, of course, to change your relationship, which is to find a new partner who you think might be better suited to you. And sometimes it's true, right? But sometimes you might get this amazing, intense passion in the beginning. But with time, your new relationship is likely to come to the point of your previous one if you don't change the way you relate to if you don't change the way you relate to a new partner, and also if you don't change the way you relate to yourself. So the truth is, unless you learn how to authentically communicate and keep that spark alive, you just will not be able to experience magical love and deep, fulfilling intimacy with your partner to the full extent. And tragically, many people put their relationships very low on their priority list. And our relationships are what makes us happy. And there is an extensive research being done that observed people for the last 75 years, and it still goes on. And the researchers found that it's not money or environment or where we come from or how much we achieve in life that makes us happy. It's love in relationships. And what's more, love in relationships is the number one factor in predicting how healthy we are after 50. And imagine then even how good our memory is. Isn't that fascinating? And being in stressful relationships causes decline in health and overall happiness. And isn't what we all want, happiness? So how come we spend so much time focusing on material life and work, but then we put our relationships to the side? And people say, here is a funny slide for you, just to wake you up a bit. People say, when I get more time, I will pay attention to my relationship. And tragically, we rarely have more time. And I think part of the problem is that people think they can't effectively change their relationship, or that their partner is wrong, or that they are wrong. And this is just not true. You're not wrong. Your partner is not wrong. And you can effectively change how much love and fulfillment you experience in your relationship. And you just might need some support to do that. So my goal today is, if you have been in your relationship for quite some time and feel that the passion has gone away, to show you a way to bring that spark back. And if you're at a place where you think maybe this relationship is not quite the right one for you, to show you ways that you can change your relationship dynamic and transform this current relationship into the one you've always dreamed about, with lots of support, lots of playfulness, and delicious lovemaking. And if you're just beginning your relationship, to give you a clear roadmap to lasting and exciting love and adventure with your partner. And as I said before, even if you are the only one who wants to change your relationship, you can do it. You have the power to transform your relationship single-handedly. Doesn't this sound promising? And this is the most important point I want you to remember. You can change your relationship dynamic. You can experience more love and connection in your current relationship. Okay, so how can you have an exciting and loving relationship? I'll just take a sip of water. And I'll be counting the mistakes and corresponding keys from 3 to 1. So listen to them, because key number 1 will completely change the way you look at your relationship. And remember, if you listen to the end, you will receive a very special gift and a chance to win your relationship assessment session. Okay, so mistake number 3, we are too different. And the corresponding keys celebrate your differences. You don't need to resolve all of your differences to be happy. And this is the mistake so many couples make. They say, we can't resolve our differences, we're just too different, so we're not meant to be together. And I wonder if you ever think this. Please type your answers in the question box. Have you decided that you're too different and that's why your relationship can't work? Relationship scientist John Gottman has done a lot of research with couples to find out what creates happy relationships and what makes relationships fail. And his research shows that 69% of all problems couples have are perpetual problems. Like, what does this mean? We can't resolve 69% of our differences. Fascinating, right? And does it mean that we're destined to be unhappy? No. The difference between loving and difficult relationship is in how a couple handles these problems. So if they're discussed, with humor, with positive energy and acceptance, they don't usually trouble the couple. I love this, trouble the couple. And then, yahoo, we're in love. However, if partners can't discuss these issues without explosive fights, or maybe tend to avoid the issues altogether, then these issues are gridlocked. And so Gottman's couple research has shown that conversations about gridlock issues fail because partners' discussion stays on the surface. When actually partners have hidden feelings and beliefs that they don't share with each other, but that are crucial for understanding and resolving problems. So it's not true that we need to break up or we can't be happy together because we can't resolve our differences. We are different. It's a fact that brings a lot of juiciness and, if handled properly, creates deep, powerful connection between the partners. And the secret here is to talk about what's really going on, the underlying issue. Never stay on the surface. And that's through this workshop, I'll talk more about that so I understand this concept. And so would you want your partner to be exactly the same as you are? Like, have you wanted this? Have you tried to change your partner into someone who's, same as you? And so then for starters, you need to be in same-sex relationship. And it's a valid choice, but it's the right choice for you. And I know that our differences bring variety, bring passion into the relationship. But you need to know how to discuss your differences, how to deepen your connection, and how to share your inner world with each other. And so the first step in it is to create a couple bubble, as Dr. Stan Tetkin coined it. And so why is it important? It's so important to create a couple bubble because we need to feel safe, to be open and vulnerable. And this is how we create intimacy. Just think about it. How likely are you to be open and vulnerable if you're not feeling safe? Wouldn't you prefer to feel safe with your partner? And when we're not sure if our partner is there for me, we start to fight over mundane problems like, toilet seats or socks on the floor. And it's never about the socks on the floor. So a couple bubble is that sense of safety in your relationship, a sense that your partner has your back. It's your safe harbor where you can be yourself and be loved for who you are, with all of your dark and light sides. And we all have a hardwired attachment system, and that's what drives our desire to connect, to bond. This is why we want to be in a relationship. And love is that emotional connection with others. And the couple bubble provides the emotional safety that allows the emotional connection to grow. So creating a couple bubble will help you to understand each other's deeper feelings and make it safer for you to show your deeper feelings. And you'll still have disagreements because it's just inevitable. But you will be able to create deeper connection through your disagreements rather than fights. So sounds great, right? So how do you create the couple bubble? So first you need to identify your sensitivities and your vulnerabilities, your soft spots. And a soft spot is a sensitivity, an emotional place in us that gets triggered or hurt quite easily. And usually our soft spots come out of our relationship with our parents when we were younger and more vulnerable. But it could also come from our adult relationships. And I'll give you an example in just a couple of moments so you can understand this better. And so people can have several soft spots, although one is usually the driving force behind most conflicts in couple. And so the next step is to identify your partner's soft spot. And then share this information with each other. And so next time when you notice your partner is off balance, you can figure out what touched him or her and be your partner's safe harbor. And so in this way, you will become an expert on your partner and his or her best friend and confidant. And this is really how you deepen intimacy and grow closer to each other. You will become a safe person for your partner, so he or she can share with you their vulnerabilities, knowing that you will accept them and love them as a complete package. And so, for example, my soft spot is a feeling that I'm wrong. And this comes from my parents wanting a boy, but somehow I was born as a girl. And so when my partner asks me to hug him differently or doesn't like the dinner I cooked, my first reaction is to withdraw into my cave of I'm wrong and break the connection. And he knows my soft spot and can come forward when I withdraw and gently bring me back with humor and love. And my awareness of this soft spot helps me to notice when I withdraw, be gentle with myself, and explain to myself as well that I'm not wrong. But to be honest, dinner was kind of overcooked. And overcooked dinner doesn't represent my worthiness at all. And here's another example for you, just to make it clearer for you. Carol has a soft spot around being left alone and abandoned because her father left the family when she was 5 years old. So when her partner Chris doesn't call when he promised, or when he's too involved at work, or maybe when he talks a long time to other people at the party, Carol starts to feel abandoned. And then when they come home, she either gets angry at Chris for leaving the lights on, or on other occasions she just shuts down and just stops talking to him. And so once Carol shared her soft spot with Chris, he starts to notice when she's missing him. And the key for him here is when Carol gets angry or she withdraws. He knows that that's her soft spot and that's her reaction to that. And then he gently hugs her and, reconnects with her. And then he can go back to his conversation if he was at a party, talking. And this couple actually found out that Carol doesn't need much to come out of her abandonment soft spot. She just needs to know that Chris is there for her. And so sometimes when they're at a party, even a warm look across the room is enough for her. Okay, so one more example to just make it clearer for you. Because I know that identifying your soft spots could be a challenging task. And I worked with a therapist to figure out mine, and somehow from time to time a new one appears out of nowhere. So John has a soft spot around feeling not good enough. And this comes from his father trying to motivate John by telling him, you can do better, this is not good enough, you need to try harder. And also John's first wife was quite critical and left him for a more successful man. And so she reaffirmed John's feeling of not being good enough. And in his current relationship with Sue, every time she brings up a subject of doing something more adventurous in their sexual life, John feels that Sue is telling him he's just not good enough, and he shuts down. He withdraws his affection and starts to spend more time with his mates. And Sue has no idea what happened, and she feels abandoned. And so then, to handle her abandonment soft spot, Sue withdraws as well. And they can stay in this withdrawn state for weeks. So in this way, we kind of, become hedgehogs trying to protect our soft spots. But the real skill is to find out our soft spots and kind of open up our soft bellies to our partners. And that's what it means to go deeper in our relating, now communicating, talking about the deeper stuff, what's really going on. And that requires a lot of courage and a lot of skill. So I wonder, is this concept of soft spots clearer now? Please type in the chat box. And maybe you can define your ones now. And I do hope that you understand it and will be able to identify some of yours and even maybe your partners. Okay, so reflect now in your relationship. Can you ask your partner, let him or her see when you need closeness and comfort? Is this difficult or easy for you? And maybe you wonder if it's a sign of weakness. Now just imagine how would it feel when you get upset off balance, your partner were right there for you, showing understanding and support. Like, how would it affect you if you knew that your partner has your back? And I know for me it feels very comforting and very loving. For me, like, my whole body opens up when I see my partner being there for me when I need him. How's it for you? And research shows that people in loving and supportive relationships can heal the sensitivities faster. We need to soothe each other's hurts. But usually we put a needle into them and tell our partner, just get over it, be strong, stop whining, you're too needy. And thus we remove the chance to heal, and moreover, we can even hurt each other. And we're often so reluctant to share our vulnerabilities because from a young age we're encouraged to get over it and be strong and independent. And we might be afraid that our partner will reject us if we show our soft spots, and that we will collapse or won't be able to function in the world. And also we might think that our partner will use our vulnerability as a weapon against us. So of course we protect ourselves. And we pretend to be invulnerable at the price of enjoying deep and fulfilling intimacy. And because we judge this vulnerability in ourselves, we might judge it in others. We might refuse to acknowledge and soothe our partners when they show their vulnerability. And I've been there, I know the cost of it. Once my partner came home from a workshop and he was feeling quite low and rejected by other participants. And I wanted to encourage him, so I told him that he can do better, he doesn't need to be a victim, he can see a different side and take responsibility for his actions. And maybe I was right, but the cost of it was intimacy. Because the only thing he could do at that point was to withdraw and deal with his upset by himself. I didn't have his back, I wasn't his safe harbor, and I lost that window to intimacy and deeper connection. And that's how I've learned a lot about relationships, through my own relationships and through learning about it. And I know it's a skill that you can learn as well. So, have a conversation with your partner about your soft spots and ask him or her about theirs. What's really important is find out a good time to talk. Like, for example, say I want to share something with you, is now a good time? If not, when? And a good way to start this conversation is to say, this is hard for me to share. Recently I found out about my sensitivities that I was afraid to share with you before. And as couples research found, the first 3 minutes of a conversation predict the outcome. So make sure you start softly and with good intention. And what kills the conversations is starting with blame. And this is the B word that destroys relationships. So make sure that you start with appreciating your partner for listening and sharing what's really going on for you without any blame. And also I know that if your relationship is not in a very good place right now, you'd be better off having this conversation with the support of a therapist. Because we are trained to help couples through difficult conversations, and we make sure that you don't blame or criticize each other and that you don't dismiss each other. You need to have enough safety in your relationship to be able to navigate vulnerable conversations on your own. Because when you share your vulnerability, you count on your partner to be very sensitive. And if your partner is upset about something in your relationship, they're probably going to say something insensitive and hurtful, and you are likely to feel hopeless and hurt. And it's not because of what you say, it's because you need some guidance in changing your communication pattern. And it's possible you just, might need an assistant or a therapist. And there's way more you need to learn about creating your couple bubble. Things like beam gleam, answering the beats for connection, making conscious choices, and making your relationship a priority. And these things are essential to your success as a couple. I don't have time today to share everything about a couple bubble, and I hope what you're learning now will get you started. So let me know if this is helpful so far. And how will it feel when you will be able to completely relax with your partner and be accepted exactly the way you are? Imagine knowing that your partner has your back and that you can count on him or her when life gets rough. And so start implementing what you learned today and make this your reality. Because I know it's possible. Okay, so let's go to mistake number 2. And mistake number 2 is that love dies with time. And the corresponding key number 2 is the longer the deeper. Long-term relationships have more depth and passion potential. The longer you stay in a relationship, the more fun and connection you can enjoy. And lots of people make a mistake thinking that only younger couples can have passion and excitement. So let's look at this key. And this is the story of my client Joe, and it will help me to illustrate this point. And Joe has been married to Richard for 29 years. They live in Auckland, and they have 2 grown-up boys. One is traveling around the world, and one is getting ready to start his own family. And this is what Joe says to our first session. I feel bored and stuck. We love each other. I know we love each other. And we feel comfortable with each other. But what is this longing? As if I'm missing something. Everything became so mechanical and joyless. And also she says, he behaves in the same way, says the same things, and we go for the same holidays. I feel like I don't want to continue like this anymore. I want to feel excitement, passion, but it feels like this is it. We had our times, and now everything is just plain boring. And can you relate to this? Have you felt this way? So Joe felt very frustrated and dissatisfied deep down. Her life became boring and mechanical. She lost her sense of wonder and excitement, and she decided that this is it. There's no more fun. I'm too old. And so this is the mistake couples make. I'm too old. There's no more fun. And then by the end of working together, that's what she says. Our relationship is so good now. There is so much more depth. And she says, when we were young, we didn't have this amount of depth and intimacy. And now I feel confident in myself, and I'm able to express a full range of emotions. I'm able to express my love whenever I feel like it. I'm authentic, and I feel how much depth, more of myself, I bring to our relationships. And she said that Richard feels so much stronger now. And I see him as a separate, unique person, not just my husband. I love who he has become, and I never thought this could be possible. Our relationship is much better now than it was 29 years ago. Would you like that? How would it feel to you to experience the depth and intimacy that you didn't even know before? And to experience it with the exact same partner that you have now? Does this sound exciting? And so emotional connection and a sense of wonder is the door to real eroticism. And that's why the more you know each other, the more connected and open you can be. And it's no longer performance-oriented sex. For both men and women, emotional disengagement closes off the richer dimension of sexuality, and young people who stay emotionally distant have more sexual partners, but they don't enjoy sex as much as those who are comfortable getting close to others. And there's lots of research that confirms that. And so in sex without deep emotional connection, there's excitement, but the passion is short-lived, and you need more and more stimulation and variety. And so the sexual experience is kind of one-dimensional, as it focuses on the physicality of sex, and so people need variety to sustain sexual desire. And this variety can be in the form of new partners or new techniques. People get hungry for more and more physical sensation. And when we get older, the name of the game is deeper and deeper connection. How can I show myself more? How can I open up more? How can I provide a safe environment for my partner so he or she can open up more? And to see again if you can engage in the chat box and post your questions there or your ahas moment. That'll be really helpful for me to know that you're there engaging with me. And so it's kind of like having these moments of deep intimacy layered, and that makes your connection more intense, more potent. And you start to have more dimensions to your connection and go to places you never knew existed before. We have this Russian saying, to become friends, we need to eat 600 kilograms of salt together. And it takes years to eat that much salt. And so the more salt we eat together, the longer we stay together, the more potent our connection becomes. But only, and that's a big but, if we continue opening up and exploring together. So that's what all, the mistake people make, and that's what happens. People stop opening up and exploring together, but they blame the length of time they've been together, rather than actually we stopped opening up, we stopped exploring. And so here's another story for you of my clients to show you what can happen once you put focus on your relationship. And Barbara says, in all 14 years of our marriage, I never felt so much love and intimacy. And she said that before working with Tarisha, I was stuck in one place and felt unhappy. I was so tired and started to wait for the night to come in the morning. And my relationship with my husband was good, but we didn't have much excitement. And I thought it was because of our children and not enough time. So that's one of the excuses people use. We don't have enough excitement or passion. Because we just don't have time. And then that's what she says, how wrong I was. This work changed her relationship so profoundly. In all 14 years, I never felt so much love and connection with my husband. Our love is so much deeper now. And the intimacy we created is beyond all words. And somehow, funnily enough, right, we even have more time for each other. We are smiling more and we are much more relaxed. And she feels like I feel like I was given a new life, and I'm so happy. Okay, so it is possible to get that spark back and have more joy and fulfillment with your long-term partner than before. And so what this couple experienced was a blissful sex, and that is emotional connection, that responsiveness to each other, tender touch, and eroticism mixed all together. And what happened to this couple, that they've created a secure emotional connection, and they started to explore the depth of their relating. They started to feel so comfortable with each other that they were able to bring more newness and variety into their lovemaking, and their love became so much more exciting, more adventurous, that, they started to find time to spend together because they wanted to spend that time together. Yeah, so imagine yourself saying the intimacy we have is beyond our words. Like, how would that feel for you? Like, would you want to somehow have more time for each other? And how would that affect your life? And as I said in the beginning, the secret here is not in time, but actually in our motivation and inspiration. So I hope by the end of this workshop you will be inspired and motivated to, focus on your relationship, to change it for the better. And so when you have that secure emotional connection, you have a lasting passion that will grow as your emotional connection grows. And you can allow yourself to be tender and playful, erotic and fiery. You can allow yourself to surrender, to explore your depth, to open up deeper and deeper. And you become really attuned to each other. You sense each other's inner state, and you can perfectly respond to your partner, giving them more pleasure so that they never have enough of you. And you have an opportunity to experience a multi-dimensional connection with your partner, physical, emotional, sexual, and even spiritual. And so if you lost that spark, here are the questions that I'd love you to consider now. How emotionally connected do you feel? On a scale from 1 to 10. And maybe type your answer in the chat box. And the next question, how emotionally connected do you think your partner feels? And again, on a scale from 1 to 10, and please type your answers in the chat box. And if there's distance, you need to work on enhancing your connection. And so going back to the key number 1 will help you with this. Creating the couple bubble is just so essential. And yes, you still need variety, right? We humans have 2 vitally important conflicting needs: safety or certainty, and variety or uncertainty. So the attraction exists in the space between us. And I know that some people's ideal is, to do everything with their partner. But then what happens is you become so familiar that there's no separation and no space for the attraction to exist. So you need to learn this dance of keeping the emotional connection and allowing the space to exist between the two of you. Being your own person and allowing your partner to be their own person. And this is the trick. Are you excited to explore this? And also, when we don't feel safe or loved, we might use sex to feel valued and worthy. But this can be quite a turn off to your partner because they'll feel the heaviness of it. And when we use sex to reduce our anxiety, it's not erotic, and it becomes hard for our partner to be turned on. And so then when our partner is not turned on, we might become even more upset and even more anxious. And then we might try to perform to please or demand sex from our partner. And this is a real turn off. So ask yourself now, do I use sex to feel worthy or to reduce my anxiety? And if you do, your partner is probably not as keen to have sex. And here's just one other story from my clients to inspire you, so you know that change is possible. I can't believe my relationship with my husband changed so much. We're again as in love as 20 years ago, but now this feels so much deeper. I feel like I was given a new life. It's from Susan in Auckland. Wonderful, right? Again in love, and it feels much deeper. And this is exactly what I'm talking about, that long-term relationships have more possibility of depth. And at this point you might be thinking, that's awesome for Susan, but that's not going to happen for me. We're so stuck. There's no way, a million years that we're going to fall in love again. And if you had asked Susan before she worked on her relationship, she probably would have been very suspicious if it were possible for her. So if you focus on your relationship, there is no way to know where you will be 6 months from now on. So again, you need to create safety and work on emotional connection in your relationship if you want to experience more depth and adventure with your partner. And also, you need to create plenty of opportunity for soft, nurturing, and comforting touch to fulfill your need for care and love. Quite often people are obsessed with sex because they just don't get enough touch, and sex becomes the only place where they get touched. And Tiffany Field, developmental psychologist, she says that touch is one of our vital needs. Children's brain development slows down when they don't get enough touch. So just so important to get enough touch, nurturing touch, not just sexual, right? It's all about nurturing touch. And then once you fill up your touch tanks and feel connected and safe, you'll be able to enjoy freeing and patient lovemaking. And you'll be able to be fully present to your partner and your own feelings and sensations. And it's like, when we are too hungry, we just don't quite taste the food, right? Okay, so here are some questions for you to reflect on, and please write your answers in the question box. First one, are you exploring with your partner? Or are you stuck in your routine and losing all sense of play and wonder? Are you feeling emotionally connected to your partner? How can you bring more caring and loving touch into your relationship? And last question, what can you do today to break the routine and introduce something new? Okay, so these are the questions for you to consider and start changing things in your relationship. And now we're going to go to mistake number 1 and corresponding key. Are you ready to learn more? And I know this is such an important key for you to learn to really change your relationship for the better. I know we've been sitting for a while, so please, let's have a stretch your body, and I'll do it with you as well. Because this key can really change your relationship and the way you look at the relationships. And this is a secret sauce to creating lasting passion. Okay, so are you ready to find out what it is? So mistake number 1 is striving for safety and becoming mates. And the corresponding key and the secret sauce to lasting passion is to bring more polarity into your relationship, to activate your magnets. Let's talk more about this. So what I found from working with a lot of different couples is that with times, couples become more like mates rather than lovers. Do you relate to this? Is this happening in your relationship? Quite often I hear couples say, we are more like flatmates now. We function together, take care of our kids, and it's like our to-do list and responsibilities took over. So there is no space for love and playfulness. And for a lot of couples, it feels deadening and quite scary and joyless. And so to enjoy blissful lovemaking and create lasting and passionate love, you really need to activate your magnets and bring more polarity into your relationship. And that's what you want, right? So polarity is the secret source that will keep your love alive and will keep you excited about being with your partner, and will be a source of variety, magic, and exploration. And so usually women need to connect more with their radiance, their aliveness, their sensuality. And men need to step more into their sense of purpose and direction and learn how to be calm and present in the face of an emotional storm that life and the feminine energy can bring up. And in the same-sex relationships, usually one partner takes on more of a masculine energy and need to step more into the sense of purpose, and the other partner usually takes on the radiance and the sensuality pole of the energy. And so to simplify, I'm using men and women here, but more accurately would be to use masculine and feminine polarity, as both men and women have masculine and feminine energies. And yes, there are some women who have more masculine energy and some men who naturally got more feminine energy. And so, yeah, it's all fine, and bringing more polarity applies to all of the relationship variations. And so I find nowadays that we are so confused about what it means to be a woman, what it means to be a man. And we have too much on our plate and disconnect from our innate nature. And we become way too similar on energy, and that's how the passion goes away. That's how we become mates, not lovers. And that's sad, right? And so to create lasting passion, we need to understand masculine and feminine energies and practice creating more polarity in the relationship. And this is an active practice, and it won't just happen by itself. So if you feel the spark is gone with your partner, it's not because you need a new partner. It's because you don't actively practice polarizing your energies. And to simplify, one partner needs to be the driving directional energy, right? And you need to do practices that really help you with that. And I know, like in real life, some of my male clients, or people who really want to run that masculine energy more, like they practice, say, martial arts, and that really help with their directional driving energy. And the other partner needs to embody flow and openness. And so a question for the masculine energy is, how can I be more present, more conscious? And a question for the feminine energy is, how can I open more, and how can I love more? And it's always fun to swap the energies and consciously play a different role, but a big thing here is consciously, right? Not out of habit and not really seeing what's happening, but consciously swap the roles. And I'm not talking here about life in general. I'm specifically talking about sexual interactions with your partner. Because of course in work life, say, we all need to know how to focus on direct. And to rest, we all need to let go and flow. So we need to have both energies, but the important piece is which energy do we engage more when we're in a sexual relationship. Okay, so are you aware of the differences in masculine and feminine energies? Or do you subscribe to the belief that we're all the same and there shouldn't be any differences? And as far as I know, everywhere in nature we see clearly defined feminine and masculine energies. Like we are different. So please don't confuse polarity with gender equality. Like we all should have equal rights for opportunities and expression, yes. And masculine and feminine energies are so different, and those are the energies that get attracted to each other. Like even in the same sex relationship, it doesn't matter. Because the attraction is actually that polarized energies are getting attracted to each other. And so I can tell you all about polarity, and I know that you need to experience it to bring more passion into your relationship. And this is where my tantric training comes in. I know that you won't find many relationship therapists that talk about polarity and offer practices to spice up your relationship. And so I teach my clients a lot of different exercises to connect to their innate nature and activate their magnets. And in the limited time we have together, I hope you got more aware of why you might be feeling a bit bored or dissatisfied in your relationship. And there's not enough time to just take you through the practices, especially that we have both men and women here on the call today. And all of us have different proportion of masculine and feminine energies. So each couple is unique in their mix. So I kind of need to have you in front of me to make sure the practices I offer will benefit you. And that's why I want to offer you a very special gift, a complimentary 1-hour Get the Love You Desire breakthrough session with me over Skype. And so during this session, you'll understand what exactly needs to be changed in your relationship and what you can do about it. So we'll look at specific steps you need to take to create more polarity in your relationship so you can enjoy that lasting love and more passion, more excitement, more joy. And so here is just another story of my clients that shows what can happen after you bring more polarity into your relationship. And Emma activated her feminine magnet and her normal Kiwi block started to be romantic with her. And she says, wow, it was rather time of realization. It's all boiled down to me not feeling feminine, not being in touch with my girliness, with my romantic side. Like, how can I expect to romance him if I can't romance myself? And then she says, I'm connecting to my feminine flirty self. And the romance is creeping into our lives. And the rest is personal. Okay, so far we covered 3 mistakes and 3 keys, which are celebrate your differences, the longer the deeper, and polarity. And so let me ask you a question. This knowledge is really good, right? And you can type your answers in the chat box. And we had a good time over the last hour. We're kind of almost at the top of the hour. And you've learned some very important concepts. And I've tried to deliver as much as I can in the limited time we had together. But an hour is not quite long enough. And you might be feeling like this little girl in the picture. And if you do, I'm sorry. I just really wanted to make sure that you have the important information, important concepts you need to be successful in transforming your relationship. And now you might be thinking like, how can I implement all of this in my relationship? How can I make it work for myself? And that's exactly why I'm offering you 1-hour complimentary session. So you can implement this knowledge with my support. So you don't get hurt anymore. So you enjoy the blissful sex that, you possibly want. And so you stop arguing and make love instead. And so if you want to do that, then go to deeplyinloveagain.com/breakthrough. And there's a link on the page as well. And you can also email me at tarisha@deeplyinloveagain to apply. And I wonder how many books on how to improve your relationship have you read? And how many webinars have you attended? And have things changed a lot for you? And because from my experience and that of my clients, just reading books and trying to implement things by yourself doesn't usually work. And I wonder if you agree, what is your experience? And I would really love you to support, I would love to support you on your journey to more love, more connection, more playfulness, more fulfilling conversations. So please do email me at tarisha@deeplyinloveagain.com or go to deeplyinloveagain.com/breakthrough to apply, and you can schedule your free session if you are serious about changing your relationship for the better. And then we can figure out your next action step together. And I have limited spaces available. I'm my own person, right? So please email me right away if you're serious about changing your relationship. And then I'll be on the call with you so you know exactly what you need to do to create the relationship you've always wanted. And if your partner is listening to this webinar with you, that's great. But even if you're the only one listening, you can still change your relationship single-handedly. And I just see it over and over again. So please email me right away. And together we can make it work, just like the other couples that I've worked with. And I know that, as I already said, some people use a lot of excuses to keep themselves in a stuck place. Like, I don't have money right now, I don't have time, I need to buy some more stuff. and no other excuses. But what really matters is your happiness and deeply satisfying love in relationships. And you need to invest your time and care into your relationship to enjoy a happy life. So please implement and get support. And so to get my support, you can apply for complimentary Get the Love You Desire breakthrough session. And the link should be on the page there. And here is the link again for you. And it's deeplyinloveagain.com/breakthrough. And I'm gifting this session because I know some of you will decide to work with me further, and some of you will get a lot of value just from the hour we spent together. So to be totally transparent, there are no strings attached to this session, and if we are fit, you will have an opportunity to get more support and work with me privately. Like, it's totally up to you. And I know 1 hour can be a game changer for your relationship because I really know what I'm doing. I've got experience. So yeah, I don't have any expectations, and I know you're going to get so much more out of that session. I mean, I'm continue working, And so my last words for you would be, don't live your life to chance. Like, don't hope for love. Cause it to happen in your life. Because you are that powerful, and yes, you deserve it. And so if you have any questions, email me right away with your phone number. And my email is tarisha@deeplyinloveagain.com. And yeah, please apply as soon as you can. And yeah, hope to talk to you soon. Okay, bye.